Imagine for a second that it is late 2026. You are watching the Apple event, and for the first time in years, the iPhone doesn't just look like a slightly polished version of the phone you already have in your pocket. It feels different. It feels heavy with intent. It feels like a pivotal moment in tech history. That is exactly where we are heading with the iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Max. For the last few years, we have been stuck in a cycle of incremental upgrades. A slightly better camera here, a faster chip there. But the leaks we are seeing now suggest that Apple is preparing to break that cycle. I have been digging through every report, every supply chain rumor, and every insider whisper, and I have found 6 specific changes that are going to redefine what a Pro iPhone actually is. These aren't just spec bumps. They are fundamental shifts in how the device looks, how it lasts, and how it sees the world. Let's start with the very first thing you're going to notice. And it is something that usually gets dismissed as cosmetic, but this time, it signals a massive shift in Apple's design philosophy. We are talking about the colors. For the longest time, Pro meant boring. It meant space gray, silver, and maybe a muted blue if we were lucky. But the leaks for the iPhone 18 Pro suggest Apple is going in a bold, almost luxurious direction. The headline color here is a deep, rich burgundy. Think of a high-end red wine finish. It is dark, moody, and sophisticated. It isn't the bright product red we see on the base models. This is a color designed to look expensive. Alongside that burgundy, there is a rumor of a soft brown tone. Now, I know what you were thinking. Brown sounds terrible on a phone, but you have to picture this differently. Imagine the tone of light roasted coffee or premium saddle leather. It is a warm, earthy tone that screams luxury accessory rather than gadget. Then there's a new light purple, which is much more subtle than previous iterations. The shocker here, though, is the potential absence of standard black and white as the main focus. Apple is taking a risk. They are betting that by 2026, people are tired of the same industrial monochromatic slabs. Personally, that burgundy finish sounds incredible. It feels like Apple is finally treating the iPhone like a piece of jewelry or a high-end watch, rather than just a utility tool. If these leaks are true, the iPhone 18 Pro is going to stand out in a crowd instantly. However, a pretty phone is useless if it is dead by 6 p.m. This brings us to the second massive leak, and this is the one that actually affects your daily life the most. We're talking about battery life, but not just a software tweak. We're talking about physics. The rumors point to the iPhone 18 Pro models being physically thicker than the iPhone 17 lineup. For years, Apple was obsessed with thinness, sometimes to the detriment of a user. But it seems they have finally listened. A slightly thicker chassis means one thing: internal volume. More space means a bigger battery. Currently, the Pro Max models hover around that 5,000 mAh mark. With this extra thickness, we could genuinely be looking at a battery capacity pushing 5,300 or even 5,500 mAh. That is a massive jump. When you combine that with the efficiency of modern chips, you aren't just looking at an all-day phone. You're looking at a two-day phone. The trade-off is a bit of weight. It might feel a little denser in the hand. You might need to buy a slightly deeper case. But ask yourself this: would you trade a millimeter of thinness for an extra 4 or 5 hours of screen-on time? Almost everyone would take that deal. This suggests Apple is shifting its priority from sleekness to endurance, and for power users, that is the best news we have heard in a decade. But battery life isn't just about the size of the tank. It is about how efficiently the car uses the fuel. This leads perfectly into the third leak, which is all about what is happening under the hood. Apple has been slowly bringing every single component in-house. First, it was the main processor, then the modem work began, and now it looks like 2026 is the year it all comes together with custom communication hardware. The iPhone 18 Pro is expected to feature Apple's next-generation connectivity tech, likely dubbed the C2 or C2X chip. Most people don't think about their Wi-Fi or Bluetooth chip until it stops working. But is why this matters. When Apple controls the main processor and the communication chip, they can make them talk to each other perfectly. This means better switching between 5G and Wi-Fi, faster connection speeds, and most importantly, significantly less power drain when you're just browsing the web or streaming music. There's also talk of support for the very latest Wi-Fi standards that will be rolling out around that time. This means that if you have a modern router, your phone is going to fly. It is these invisible upgrades, the ones you don't see on a billboard, that make a phone feel smooth and reliable 3 or 4 years down the line. Now, let's talk about connectivity in a different way. This fourth leak is wild, and it sounds like something out of a science fiction movie. We know Apple introduced satellite SOS a while ago, allowing you to send a text if you're stranded on a mountain. But the iPhone 18 Pro is rumored to take this technology way beyond emergencies. We are hearing reports of deeper satellite integration, potentially through new partnerships that would allow for actual data or communication access when traditional cell towers are completely out of range. Think about what this means for the concept of a mobile phone. Right now, your phone is a supercomputer in the city and a paperweight in the middle of the desert or the ocean. If this leak is accurate, Apple is trying to bridge that gap. Imagine being on a road trip through the middle of nowhere, or on a long-haul flight, or hiking in a remote national park, and still having a reliable signal to send a message or check a map, not just because you're dying, but because you want to. This shifts the iPhone from being a city-dweller device to a truly global communication tool. It is a massive reliability upgrade that gives you peace of mind, knowing that your device will work almost anywhere on the planet. Of course, we cannot talk about a new iPhone without talking about the camera. And this brings us to leak number 5, which might be the most controversial one for tech enthusiasts. For years, Sony has been the king of camera sensors. They make the best sensors in the world, and Apple has used them loyally. But rumors suggest the iPhone 18 Pro might switch to a new main camera sensor developed with Samsung. Now, before the Apple purists panic, listen to the details. This isn't just an off-the-shelf Samsung part. This is rumored to be a highly customized sensor using a stack design. In simple terms, a stack sensor separates the photodiodes, the part that gathers light, from the transistors, the part that processes the signal. By stacking them on top of each other instead of placing them side by side, you can make the light-gathering part much bigger without making the phone huge. The result? Drastically better dynamic range and noise control. We might also see a massive jump in resolution. But the real story isn't about megapixels. It is about clarity. This sensor could eliminate that grainy look you get in low light and make video look even more like cinema footage. If Apple is willing to switch suppliers after all this time, it means this new technology is significantly better than what they have now. It is a risky move, but one that could secure Apple's crown as the king of video for another 5 years. And finally, we have the 6th leak, and honestly, this is the one that has me the most excited as a photographer. It is the holy grail of smartphone imaging, variable aperture. If you look at a professional camera lens, you will see blades inside that open and close like the pupil of your eye. This controls how much light gets in and how blurry the background is. Smartphones, historically, have had a fixed aperture. The eye is always wide open. The iPhone 18 Pro is rumored to finally introduce a mechanical variable aperture. Here is why this changes everything. In bright sunlight, the camera can squint or close down the aperture. This makes the entire image sharper, from a flower right in front of you to the mountain in the background. It reduces that harsh, blown-out look. But when you go into a dark restaurant, the lens can physically open up to let in maximum light. Even more importantly, this allows for natural depth of field. Right now, portrait mode is fake. It uses software to blur the background, and sometimes it messes up your hair or glasses. With a variable aperture, you can get that creamy, blurry background. Naturally, using optics, not AI. It makes photos look organic, cinematic, and professional. Pairing that new Samsung stack sensor with a variable aperture lens is a 1-2 punch that could kill off the compact camera market for good. So, when you look at these 6 leaks together, a picture starts to form. The burgundy and leather colors suggest a maturity in design. The thicker body and bigger battery show a focus on function over form. The custom chips and satellite tech show a desire for ultimate reliability. And the camera upgrades, The new sensor and variable aperture show a drive for professional-grade imaging. The iPhone 18 Pro Max doesn't look like just another yearly update. It looks like the start of a new era. In my opinion, if you have been holding on to an iPhone 14, 15, or even the 16, and you have been waiting for the big one to upgrade, this is it. This feels like the super cycle we have been waiting for. It is the combination of battery, beauty, and beastly performance. Of course, these are still leaks, and things can change between now and 2026, but the direction is clear. Apple is done playing it safe. They are ready to make the iPhone exciting again. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the future of the iPhone, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more leaks and tech analysis. Share this video with your friends who are still holding on to their old phones, and hit that bell icon so you're the first to know when the next big leak drops. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.